Hey, everybody. Before we get started on our podcast today, we also wanted to remind you that we are participating and talking up True Aussie Beef and Lamb through their Grill on the Green sweepstakes. Have you entered yet? ?
Because you should. Go to grillonthegreen.com and enter to win a large size big green egg. The large size can smoke an entire turkey.
What?
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Can roast like a 20-pound turkey.
I think I need to get on that.
Yeah. Enter to win at grillonthegreen.com and own your party this summer.
You should go head on over to our blog at www.hungrysquare.com.
Why? Because there's lamb tacos up on the blog.
Yep, Sharon made lamb tacos last week. They look so good. I know that she had her own little shindig, and I didn't get invited. I get it.
I'm sorry.
It was a weeknight
too. It was a weeknight.
It was a weeknight.
And it was fun.
Yeah. But we'll be putting up something next week as well. So look out for that. But go check out the lamb tacos that Sharon made. They look amazing.
The Big Green Egg and Aussie Beef and Lamb are proud sponsors of our podcast, and we appreciate them. What fruit teases you a lot?
Okay. I don't know.
Banana.
Hungry Squared, bringing you the best food talk anywhere.
Welcome to the Hungry Squared podcast where the brain and belly meet. I'm Sharon from the Wasatch Cooking Guide.
And I'm Winter from theredparty.com. This week, we are loving on the summer food, Sharon.
Yeah, all the summer food.
I love picnics and barbecues and all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about it.
Hungry Squared.
Sharon, how has your week been?
It's been good.
Have you eaten anything interesting or fun or different? Okay, you guys, this is the best part because both Sharon and I, before we hit the record button, we generally talk about what we're going to talk about. When we realized we were recording this segment, we both have this look on our face of like, oh man,
I don't know what I ate this week. I do know what I ate this week.
Let's hear about it.
I have been drinking. So I like iced coffee because it's summertime and iced coffee is yummy. But I have to say there is just a mom and pop drive-through that I went to recently near my home that served iced coffee, but it was hot coffee poured over ice and served in a styrofoam container.
Is that the way it's supposed to be?
No, it is not. No, it is not.
Because that would water it down, like with the heat melting the ice.
And then when you put your straw in it, it goes to the bottom, and that's where the heat's trapped in there, and it was really terrible and not iced coffee.
Oh.
So I was very disappointed. Again, this is not like a chain or anything like that. It's just this, I think because of their location, that they are not really coffee drinkers themselves of this little like drive-through. It's like a drive-through drinks place. They don't just serve it's not like a little coffee shop that's a drive-through. It's a drive-through all drinks type of place. And I think just coffee is not their specialty. So I've been drinking cold brew.
I don't know what cold brew is. I'm sorry.
Cold brew coffee. So there's a certain way that you kind of have to brew coffee and then you refrigerate it afterward. There's a certain like drip method and stuff like that and brewing method that you can do. It's really similar to regular coffee, but you don't immediately put it in the fridge after it's brewed. Like you kind of let it go to room temperature and stuff like that. So anyway, you can buy cold brew at the store too in the refrigerated section.
Oh, okay.
And so I've been doing that and taking it to work with me in my handy dandy travel thermos.
That's always nice.
This one is a cold drink thermos. I have a hot drink thermos. This one's a cold drink thermos.
Those are nice.
Yeah.
They don't condense on the outside. They don't have the condensation level right on the outside. It's like that
nice, like kind of like a Yeti mug or those Arctic mugs that you've seen. Yeah, they're really nice.
Sweet.
And they keep cold for a long time. What have you eaten this week?
It sure is a good thing that you were able to tell me about your food because I was like, oh man, I didn't really think about that. Because don't get me wrong, I've eaten plenty of food this week, but it's been so blasted hot.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So it really is just kind of like, what can I eat that is cold, like all the time? So I was trying to think of that. But the thing that I ate this week that was really quite tasty was a birthday cake.
Oh, whose birthday?
It was one of my niece's birthdays this week. But we got together as a family and had the cake that her mother made, my sister-in-law.
Okay.
It's a strawberries and cream cake by the Food Nanny.
The Food Nanny?
Yeah, it was really good. And the thing that was surprising about this particular cake was that it tasted almost like or had the texture of a pound cake.
Interesting.
Yep. And
so it was really dense?
It was really dense, but do you know why it was really dense? It was because, so you start out with actually a box cake.
Oh, okay.
But then when you're done baking it, you actually kind of smash it down a little.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was just really good. It was.
So it was just this smashed down cake?
With strawberries and cream frosting, and it was nice and light. So it helped beat the heat. It was yummy.
So I have only had strawberry cake 3 times. The first time I was with you.
You were?
Yes.
Okay, wait. Oh, where? Tell me where.
I was with you and our friend, our doctor friend. I don't remember what we called Amy. Our friend Amy. And we had gone to the Dodo restaurant.
Oh, yes.
And we ordered 3 different desserts.
Because that's what you do.
Yeah. At a really good dessert place.
Yeah. And the Dodo does have really excellent desserts there.
So we had a strawberry cake and I was in love with it. But they only serve it every once in a while. It's not even
Nope, it's not one of their regulars. Nope.
They just kind of, whenever it strikes them, and I guess whenever strawberries are really in season, but it's not always, you can't predict it.
Yeah, it's not consistent
at all. They do it. But I've had their strawberry cake 3 different times. So I've never had any other strawberry cake.
So
but
really
I imagine it's
Dodo.
probably super really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had shortcake.
Yeah.
But not an actual strawberry cake.
Right. And I don't necessarily know this is, I don't believe it has strawberries in the cake itself, but
there are
the strawberry.
There's a couple of and your cake?
In this Food Nanny one, it doesn't have the strawberries in the cake itself. It has it just in that frosting, and the frosting is super good and light.
Yummy.
And then you pair it with this white cake that's kind of denser. It hit the spot.
Yeah.
I'll put that link in the show notes if you want to make it. And I'll put a link in the show notes for the Dodo restaurant because you should try out their desserts.
And now for the main course.
Okay, let's get down to our first topic at hand. Summer foods.
Well, we were thinking that we should talk about summer foods because it's so blasted hot.
Yeah. You should go on a picnic.
Yeah.
You should grill.
Things that are outside. And so that's why we obviously are excited to pair with True Aussie Beef and Lamb because we had to grill on the big green eggs. So there's that. But then we're like, what?
Besides meat, what can we talk about?
Yeah. It's totally true. So
we're going to talk about pairings, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
All of
the side dishes that are involved with your summer food. What are the things that we think about when you think of summer foods?
I think about grilled vegetables, grilled corn, the Mexican street corn, so yummy. But I also think about salads.
Me too.
I think about potato salad.
Me
That's
too.
one of my favorite summer salads.
You know what? I think people can do potato salad so poorly.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay, that was not a good way to start out. But there are terrible potato salads out there.
But there's also as much terrible potato salads that everybody knows about because if you talk to people, they either really like or they really hate potato salad.
Yeah, there's no in between. They're like, nope, not going to touch the stuff, or give me all the potato salads.
Yeah. I'm a give me all the potato salads kind of girl.
I'm wondering what your style is, and then we'll get into a little bit of the history. I'm wondering what type of potato salad. Do you like the mayonnaise-y, mustardy based one, or ones that are not so, they don't have as much?
So one of my requirements, I guess, for potato salad is it needs to have a hard-boiled egg in there.
Oh.
I get really disappointed when people don't include that. I don't even want to finish it.
Don't even want to try that.
So I really like that. I like the addition of paprika.
A little deviled egg almost. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are you a pickles/cucumbers fan in the potato salad?
Oh, I don't know if I've had cucumber in it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I prefer the pickle relish or pickles.
Oh, yeah. A little crunch and
a
tang.
little crunch.
I like that too. I agree.
Yeah. My mom put celery in ours growing up for extra crunch.
I wouldn't mind celery. I love celery. Lee hates celery. He doesn't. He hates 2 foods, and celery is one, and sometimes coconut is the other. Isn't that weird?
Coconut. I knew celery. I have something funny for Lee later about celery. I knew celery. He gets like almost upset if you talk about celery too much.
The
awesome.
only thing that he'll accept it in is mirepoix.
Even then, I think he tries to like not do an even amount of the other
the carrots and the onions.
like he tries to do less celery, I think.
I bet that's the case.
So I like the mustard mayonnaise combination, but I like it to be more mustardy than mayonnaise.
Oh, really? I think I prefer a little bit more mayo than mustard.
I mean, I like it to be creamy, and so that mayo I feel is essential to accomplish that, but I like it to taste like mustard though.
Okay.
So yeah. But potato salad, there isn't a lot of history that I could find on potato salad, and I was kind of disappointed.
I know. I feel like potato salad's been around for ages and ages and ages.
Yeah. So potatoes, though, did you know there's more than 200 species of potato?
No, I did not know that.
And they are relatives to the tomato, chili, and tobacco plants.
Oh.
And they are indigenous to moist, cool regions of Central and South America.
You totally just said moist.
I did. I don't really damp,
wet, damp,
dank.
That's not great either. Okay, sorry.
Which would you prefer, moist or dank?
Somebody's going to comment on that. We've had people comment on our use of moist.
Dank is a seller. So those more damp, cool regions of Central and South America, they were cultivated about 8,000 years ago. Some of them were. And the Spanish explorers brought them back to Europe.
Okay.
So that's how
they spread.
And then Ireland is also damp and cool. So because it was hardy and it's easy to grow, it was inexpensive, and the poor people were its principal consumers.
Yeah. And
back in the 1845 blight, Irish peasants were eating about 5 to 10 pounds a day.
What?
Mm-hmm. The potato now leads all the other vegetables worldwide in production.
Really? Well, really?
Yeah. Crazy, huh?
Wow. I guess it's because they store well, right?
I mean, I went to school in southeastern Idaho, so it was like potatoes everywhere and you knew how to like spot a silo and like the different or I don't even think that's what they're calling them. Like the little storage, they're not little, they're huge.
Warehouses or something?
Airplane hangar size storage for the potatoes. Anyway, it's one of the most popular vegetables in the United States.
Yep.
And more potatoes are consumed in the U.S. than any other vegetable. And it ends up being, on average, around 1/3 of a pound per day per person in the U.S.
Oh, that's a lot. That's
Thanks,
a lot of potatoes.
French fries.
No, seriously. Yeah, I was like French fries and potato chips and baked potatoes and twice baked potatoes. There's so many ways you can do potatoes.
Right? Super yummy. So potato salad itself actually is believed to have originated in Germany.
Oh.
And as we remember from ourselves from a dinner party.
Oh my gosh.
Several years ago that Winter hosted so we used to have this thing called Iron Chef, and like 50 of our closest friends and their significant others were invited to Iron Chef, and so we would have a theme every month.
Who chose that theme?
I think we might have.
Oh, really?
I think so.
So the theme,
I remember like agreeing that is a great idea.
The theme was Germany. Like,
yes, German food.
And we're like, okay, we can get on board. Because sometimes we'll have like an ingredient, and then other times it'll be like
a theme.
We're doing Chinese food or something like that.
Right.
And so we're like, German food. Yeah.
So we had brats, potato salad coming out of our ears.
No, seriously, people, that was all that everybody brought.
Except I want to point out that our friend Amy brought a lovely Black Forest cake.
Oh, yeah. So we did have one dessert.
And I attempted potato latkes.
Oh, yeah. Those were good. No, they were good. I really like those potato latkes. But it was still a potato.
It was still a potato.
It was still a potato. I just want to point out. So let's just say we all got full very quickly.
And there was so much left over. Meat it was literal meat and potatoes. Yep. Everywhere and on every surface of the kitchen.
Oh man, that was funny.
So potato salad originated in Germany, it's commonly believed, but the German potato salad it's usually served warm, and it's more
They don't have mayo, right?
It's more vinegary.
Yeah, vinegary
more
and
acid.
oil. Like they
Mhm.
have kind of more of a salad dressing.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty tasty though.
It is,
It's different. It's just different
different.
from what we have.
but I wouldn't call it like your typical summer food.
Yeah.
The potato salad that we know and love,
Mm-hmm.
the mayo mustardy kind
Mhm.
of combo. Some people only do mayo, and I think that's super disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
It is like an American version,
Yeah.
an Americanized version.
Do you know where that started by any chance? I'm sure that it's going to be hard. There was
yeah.
no definitive.
A lot of people were like Boston, New England. It was just kind of all over the place
Mm.
when I was researching. So I'm not really sure. But yeah, potato salad. My favorite version lately of potato salad is a loaded baked potato salad.
Oh, well, when you say loaded, that makes me think there should be bacon in it.
There is
Some green onions or something?
Yeah.
Some sort of onion?
like a chive type thing.
Ooh,
Mhm.
I would love that. And then a bunch of sour cream.
Yes, it's a sour cream base.
Oh, instead of mayo?
Yes.
What?
There is some mayo in it to kind of thin it out. But
That.
when I say some, it's just a little amount.
And then mustard too, or no?
No mustard.
I
So
think I would
it's
like-
white.
Yeah.
And so you look at it and you're like,
Looks kinda
I don't
pasty
know if
looking.
I'm gonna like that.
Yeah.
So dang good.
Okay. Well, where'd you get that recipe?
My friend Jill.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Jill.
Hey Jill. She brings it to every family gathering and we wolf it down. And she's a little disappointed that we do because she always likes to bring home the leftovers and eat it during the week.
Mm-hmm. It's not happening, Jill. Sorry. It's
No.
too good.
So she got it off of Pinterest and there's quite a few
I'm sure there's
really
bazillion.
similar. Taste of Home has a really good one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put that in the show notes or something of that nature so you guys can try making it at your next picnic
Yeah.
or barbecue.
So potato salad is common summer food,
Yes.
as is a fruit salad.
Okay, well, let's clarify. I don't really like fruit salads.
Mm.
The only reason why I say that is because I like the fruit generally chilled. And then when you bring it outside, it just kind of gets warm and
Okay.
It's just
I get what you're saying.
So what kind of, is that the kind of fruit salad you're talking about?
Well, when I crowdsourced this question of what foods remind you of summer, I have a good friend who told me that ambrosia salad reminds her of summer.
Ambrosia salad, I think.
And
I've
I
seen
had to
it-
look up ambrosia salad just to make sure that I knew what she was talking about.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like I've seen a 1950s ad
Yes, you have.
for ambrosia salad. For our listeners, what is that, Sharon?
So it's basically salad in some type of a white cream. So it could be cottage cheese.
Mm-hmm.
It could be sour cream. It can even be mayonnaise. Most often it's done sweet. I've seen it in tapioca, also in like a whipped topping, either Cool Whip or whipped cream.
Mm-hmm.
In case you're not counting, I've just named off 6 off the top of my head. Now, every family, every area kind of does it differently, similar to potato salad.
So wait a second. You've named the base, but what goes in anything? Anything can go into an ambrosia salad.
It's usually fruit and sweet. So there's fruit, nuts, and marshmallows.
Oh, so like a frog eye salad or something like that.
Ish, yes.
So frog eye salad has, what are those? Little
Those are tapiocas.
tapioca ball things.
Mm-hmm. They
Okay.
taste good, but I'm always disappointed when I bite into it because it's a weird texture.
It's a little interesting. Let's be honest. So I've had a frog eye salad and it's usually in Cool Whip.
Mm-hmm.
Cool Whip.
Whip.
But you said it could be in sour cream or in mayo or what was the other thing? I thought you named off another savory-ish.
Mayo,
Okay.
occasionally sour cream, tapioca. Anyway,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
you can rewind it, people.
Yeah, listen to what she just said. Oh my goodness.
All I have to say is it's just gross.
Well,
And I'm sorry to disappoint you, good friend of mine, who shall remain anonymous because I think it's embarrassing that you like ambrosia salad. Just kidding. I know I'm a texture eater. So if it's a weird texture, I'm disappointed. Like it's too much. It's sensory overload for me.
yeah, there's a lot going on in there.
Because pineapple and mandarin oranges are really common ingredients.
I feel like
so you're biting, you've got this pineapple, you've got this burst of citrus. Some people are thinking that sounds phenomenally great. And the little mini marshmallows kind of break down. and get soggy, but it's a good thing.
Is it a good thing?
But then you've got this other texture of the base that's like, I don't know what's going on. It's weird.
So you're saying no to the ambrosia salad? Because
I'm saying no.
I generally, when I see that show up at a picnic or a gathering,
I stay away.
I don't usually get it.
It's similar to those fluff salads, like the Jell-O fluff salad.
Yeah, but the Jell-O fluff salad doesn't have that weird base texture of like the tapioca.
It can, depending on who's making it.
Oh, okay.
But typically those fluff salads are all one soft texture.
Yeah.
That's okay. I mean, like people put fruit in them sometimes, and that's okay. But a common denominator of all of these salads I'm talking about is that they kind of tend to look like regurgitated food. Throw up, if you will. Sometimes they look like throw up.
They kind of, it's not great. And even though you put a little maraschino cherry on top, it's just still not going to do much for you, I think. But
yeah, I mean, at least they're not like bilious colors.
Ew,
although
gross.
I mean, if you
gross.
Google image ambrosia or Jell-O salad, sometimes it does look like a bilious color.
Okay, so ambrosia salad is common at picnics. Sharon doesn't like them.
Yeah. So there's also the Jell-O fluff.
Can we talk about Jell-O salads?
Yeah.
Do you like Jell-O salads?
It depends on who's making it. My sister-in-law makes a Jell-O fluff salad.
Okay.
That's okay.
It's Jell-O base, but it doesn't necessarily have the Jell-O made
right
part.
My family, like big, huge extended family, whenever we get together, there's always a Jell-O salad. Also, depending on who made it, I may or may not eat it.
Gotcha.
Basically, I like red Jell-O with whipped cream and sometimes an addition of bananas in it.
With whipped cream, is that on top of the
on
Jell-O?
Top,
okay.
Yeah. Basically, you make some Jell-O in a 9x13 glass pan. You throw some bananas in it before it hardens up, and then you slaughter the thing in whipped cream.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I love Jell-O.
But that's not really a salad. That's a dessert.
You could make it a salad.
You can, and people do.
I've seen some nasty stuff. I love Jell-O.
I've seen some nasty stuff.
I will say I love Jell-O, and I think Jell-O is sweet, so it should have, if it's going to have anything in it, it should have fruit. My mother-in-law makes this one that has pomegranates or something at the bottom. And it's kind of fun because it's got
nice.
this like little texture, and it's pretty tasty. There's like this whipped cream cheese frosting stuff on the top. I love Jell-O. I ate Jell-O a lot when I was a kid, and I love it. Plain with the stuff in it, but I'm not.
Do you like savory Jell-O?
No, that's where I draw the line. I love the Jell-O if it's sweet. If it's savory, what's wrong with you people? So, carrots, that's not cool.
Did you know that Jell-O, the Jell-O brand, has several discontinued flavors? In the 50s and 60s.
Aspic was a huge thing, wasn't it?
Sure. And that's more like tomatoey.
Yeah. A tomato gelatine thing.
Right. So in the 50s and 60s, like Jell-O, gelatin was very popular. And it was very popular to make a meal out of suspended in Jell-O.
Yes.
So you're suspending meat and vegetables in gelatin.
Yep.
And Jell-O brand got on the bandwagon, and in the 60s they offered 4 savory flavors.
Oh.
Do you want to guess what 4 they are?
I want to say one of them had to be
tomato.
So that would be your little aspic one. I don't know what the other ones are. No, I don't know. Fish? Can I guess fish just because I think that's obnoxious?
No, but fish.
Really
there
close.
was a fish that starred prominently in a Jell-O commercial.
A tuna?
No.
Okay, well go. Tell me what the 4 flavors are first of all. The savory ones.
Vegetable.
Oh, okay.
Tomato, mixed vegetable, Italian blend salad.
Ooh.
And the 4th one, celery.
Oh. Lee, we should get some of that.
I've been looking on eBay.
Have you? Nobody has.
It's probably like really like not consumable because it was discontinued in the late 60s. But if any of you can find celery Jell-O, please let us know because we'd like to surprise Leland. Play a nice practical joke.
Oh, he's going to love that.
Save it for next April Fools.
Oh, yeah. He's going to love that. He's like, it's lime Jell-O with some more cream on it. And then he's going to be like, I hate your guts.
Yep. Be great.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Sharon, can I share a really quick story?
Sure.
I lived in Russia for a little while, and they have something like unto that. It's like an aspic, but it's called holodiets, and
What does that translate into? Anything?
it's this meat Jell-O. It's like meat Jell-O. So they boil meat with the bones and everything. And, the gelatin from the bones comes out, and you just basically throw that when it's all done and boiled, you throw it into the fridge, or I think maybe pour it out into a mold or something like that. So the meat, like bits of meat are suspended in it, and the fat and
Let me tell you, Spam spread used to be very popular with Jell-O to pair with.
Oh, no. Okay. Continue on. I just wanted to say Russians have it. I think a lot of places.
Did you ever eat it?
Oh, yeah. I ate it.
And?
I don't eat it by itself because I think it's a little too, it really has a nice buttery taste to it, but it's like eating a pat of butter just straight.
Ooh.
So put it on some bread and you'll be fine.
Oh, kind of like Vegemite.
Yeah. It'll be fine.
So I came across this HuffPost article called Jell-O with Shrimp Frosting, the worst vintage recipe we've ever made.
Jell-O with shrimp frosting?
Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit of an older article. It's from October 21, 2013. If you Google shrimp frosting, you should be able to find it.
I'll put it in the show notes too, because you want to make this.
Yeah, I'll send this article to you.
Okay.
So it's by Rebecca Orchant. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Sorry.
Hey, Rebecca.
So she, prior to this article publishing, she said, a few weeks ago, we stumbled upon a photo of someone's grandma's recipe on Reddit. And so basically, she's got a blog, she and her husband, and they posed the question, do you dare us to make this vintage recipe and try it? And the recipe was called shrimp frosting on Jell-O. So she gathered her ingredients, and most of it looks fine.
What are the ingredients?
So the ingredients are pimentos and olives and celery and onion, canned shrimp, heavy cream. So it kind of seems okay-ish. Like maybe you could do like a shrimp salad with that or something. Yeah.
Okay. There's heavy whipping cream.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And canned shrimp.
Yes, but canned shrimp is not the worst part about this recipe. Let's just make that clear.
Wait, what is the worst part about this recipe?
Oh, I'm going to tell you because I'm going to read part of this article to you.
Okay.
During the first steps of this recipe, it became apparent that A, Grandma had not really given enough information, and B, this was going to be absolutely revolting. Something terrible happens when you combine lemon Jell-O, hot water, and cream cheese. The cheese breaks into tiny bits and looks curdled, which may have been avoided by tempering it, but hindsight is 20/20. So she whisked it until she felt like her arm was going to fall off.
Oh, gross.
Finally got it to combine. And then she added diced celery and sliced olives to it.
Lemon Jell-O?
Yeah, lemon.
Okay.
And lemon was around back then.
Okay.
It was. And she and her husband have made several vintage recipes. So she's like, looking back on these vintage recipes, there's always something about them that like, okay, I could see why that's good.
Yeah.
Why you might think that this is good. There's like some aspect of it, of each recipe that she's ever tried of these vintage ones, that she's always like, okay, I can see how, maybe your family would like that. She never felt that way about this recipe. And so she shows a picture of the mixing bowl. And the top looks fine.
It looks fine.
But then she looks at it from the side.
Oh, there's chunkies, you guys.
There's chunkies and
a lot of chunkies. One
that looks like an eye because it's sliced green olives with a pimento in it.
There's an eyeball in it.
So
it looks kind of bilious.
She says going into this, after she's mixed it all together, she said, my sincerest hope is that the Jell-O mold I just put in the fridge never sets up so I don't have to taste it. #shrimp frosting. It sets. And then she's like, okay, now it's time for the shrimp frosting.
That's the thing that concerns me is the shrimp frosting.
So basically it's called frosting, but it's just a really runny shrimp salad.
On top?
Mm-hmm. It's a mayonnaise base. And this is what it looked like. We're going to put this in the show notes, you guys. You really need to see this article.
It is beautiful. I think it looks kind of pretty.
From a distance, it looks like a holiday cake, but it is yellow. And there are little like
floaties. I think
floaty olives.
It looks festive. What are you talking about?
This is what it looks like with the shrimp frosting on top.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so
runny shrimp
looking.
Salad on this like lemon olive Jell-O.
Celery Jell-O.
So she says, don't make this at home unless you'd like yourself or someone else to leave. I cut myself a slice, set it on a plate, took 3 cleansing breaths. She had to meditate before eating this.
You got to do what you got to
and
do.
took a bite. And then she describes the taste, and it's a whole paragraph describing this taste. And
Oh my goodness.
man,
It wasn't good. Okay, well, I'm excited to post this and read it for myself.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Just these vintage shrimp recipes, these vintage Jell-O recipes where people tried to make everything savory. You see these funny vintage ads on Pinterest or Google and, different kind of retro blogs. People actually ate that stuff.
Yeah.
That was what was for dinner.
I love it. It is kind of fun to see how there are trends in food, obviously. And right now our trends are things like
kale.
Yeah. But also just things that you can make in an Instant Pot or,
Right.
those kind of things. And back in the
Convenience.
day, it was Jell-O.
Back in the day, this was their convenience food. You
Yeah.
could just open a can of meat and a can of vegetables and throw it in and then refrigerate it, and it was done.
It was done. I will just put it out there that I will not eat that at a summer picnic.
No.
If you bring that. Or maybe I will just to try it. And then I'll be like, okay,
You'll try it on a dare.
I'll try it on a dare. I can do that.
Let's talk about Jell-O and fruit salad, because everybody masks the Jell-O salad as a fruit salad, even though it's a dessert. They're saying, oh, I brought a fruit salad, and it's really Jell-O with some stuff in it, or it's the Jell-O fluff. Like, this is our fruit salad. My recommendation is to either eat a strawberry shortcake
Excellent.
if you want some dessert,
Light and fluffy.
or some type of, berry shortcake.
Which is perfect for the summer.
or slice up some fruit and serve it with a side of
A dip or something.
whipped topping or fruit dip.
Yeah. Those are,
Go that way. Just do real fruit.
I like that. Once again, I do like it when they're nice and cold though. So
Yeah. Well, that's an important thing, is to keep your, if you're going outside with this stuff, make sure it is ice cold and prepare for that so you can serve it appropriately.
yeah, like I said, I stay away from the sliced fruit stuff when it's outside. The one sliced fruit that I do love during the summertime is watermelon though.
Me too.
Like I do love it cold, but I will eat it when it's kind of just like, oh, it's just been sitting out. We're going to bust open to it right now and eat it.
I think watermelon's pretty safe that way.
Yeah, it's so good.
And the water content's super high. And so if you let it sit out, it kind of gets slushy,
Yeah.
which is also refreshing on a summer day.
Yes. Did you know that Mark Twain once said that to taste a watermelon is to know what angels eat?
Oh,
Yeah, he was a big fan of watermelons. And I'm going to talk about watermelons today because that's what I think of when I think of summer foods is watermelon. Nowadays, we don't have seeds. Like there are cultivars that do not have seeds in them. And so as a kid, I used to eat it, spit the seeds out, and that was really fun. Did you ever do that?
yeah. We ate a lot of watermelon growing up. We would have like seed spitting contests
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But
That was terrible.
I don't know. It seemed like when I was older a little bit, we started seeing more seedless watermelon.
Mm-hmm.
And so that seemed like the way to go. But
It is.
watermelon all around. It's good.
It's more convenient for sure. So can I talk a little bit about the history of the watermelon? Because I was surprised. I was thinking that it was a little bit more of a recent, modern
Is it not?
cultivation. It's been around for 5,000 years.
What?
But there is a lot of controversy. Apparently
Oh.
in the melon world, everybody.
Okay.
Who knew, right? The watermelon is, if you don't know what a watermelon is, it's a vine.
Mm-hmm.
It's from the flowering plant Cucurbitaceae. Oh my gosh, I
Does that
totally.
mean it's related to the cucumber?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah. So any of those like vine plants, they're kind of
okay.
related. The consensus is that this melon started in Africa and then moved to the Mediterranean and then eventually to the rest of the world, Europe and the rest of the world.
So hot climate.
Yeah. So you need that. But the problem is everybody can't quite put their finger on what part of Africa it started in. Okay. So let me just back up really fast. So there are several current varieties of melons that kind of look like the watermelon. So that everybody's like, oh, maybe it's because of this. It's from Southern Africa. And people are like, that's probably not correct. And then by the time they got down to it, the person that I'm talking about anyway his name is Harry Paris, and he's a horticulturist for the Agricultural Research Organization, and it's located in Israel. And so he's trying to figure out how the watermelon transformed from back in the day to current day. And he thinks that it started in the northeastern part of Africa. because he thinks the taxonomists, the people that are naming these watermelons, the Latin names, they called it incorrectly from the beginning. So our modern day watermelon's name is Citrullus lanitus, which citrulus kind of has that citrus, like basically a fruit.
Okay.
Lanitus, however, is not quite correct because lanitus means hairy in Latin. Okay. Yeah, like hairy, like hair on your head type of thing. And that probably was more referencing the fuzzy covered citron melon. So I think that it was named incorrectly. So people kind of think it came from Southern Africa. While when he started to narrow things down, he thinks it definitely came from the northeastern part of Africa. So Egypt, Sudan.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And the reason why he says that is because, they found watermelon seeds some archaeologists found some watermelon seeds in this settlement in Libya. And then about 4,000 years ago, in King Tut's tomb, they have a tomb painting of a watermelon. I
had no idea. Really?
Uh-huh. And they're like, wait a second, why back in the day though, there was a great belief that it was very bitter, but it had a very high water content like we know it to have right now.
I wonder if they were picking it too soon.
Well, no, I think it was definitely either bitter or bland. That's kind of what they think.
It just developed over time.
Yeah.
The flavor.
Yep. So what they ended up doing, they said, okay, well, why did they keep trying to keep these watermelons around, even though they were bitter or just didn't really taste that good? They are extremely high in water content, as we know, watermelon. So they probably kept as a source of water.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
And so the reason why they were in the pharaoh's tomb likely was because after they died, they had a long journey to go on.
Yes, you need some water.
And so they had watermelon as a way for these leaders to go to the other side of the world. So, to the
other side of life.
Other side of life. Yes, that's it. Sure. And they would keep them. Now, obviously, we've talked about things being cultivated with our banana episode and our avocado episode.
Right.
There's many things so eventually things kind of started to get they started to selectively breed the ones that were a little sweeter. Kind of what we do now. We just kind of selectively breed the things that have the traits that we want. And so back in the day, it was usually a pale green flesh, kind of hard, pale green, but still had that high water content. And I read a couple of references where they would basically smash it into a pulp so you can extract the water from it. So that's what it was used for. Now, this was interesting because between 400 BC to 500 AD, it started to spread from the northeastern part of Africa up into the Mediterranean countries. And by this time, they're like, okay, what is it being used for? Has it already gotten its sweet flavor? Has it started to get its sweet flavor? And Mr. Paris here, he says that it is they have probably bred it so that it was starting to be sweeter because of the fact that in some writings, there was some ancient Hebrew writing, and they said that they set aside fruit as a tithing for the priests, right? And the poor.
Okay.
And so if you're a farmer, you would set aside some of your harvest, and they would talk about different types of things that we would group together. And they actually tithe watermelons in the same category as figs, grapes, and pomegranates. And
fancy.
So what are those things? They are sweet. They are fruits that are sweet. So the fact that they lumped watermelon into that, I think by this time we know that they have selectively bred for a sweeter
Right.
melon.
It's no longer bitter.
It's no longer that bitter, hard flesh. It's more tender. And they even talk about how when you are bringing them to the tithe, you don't stack them up. You have to lay them in a row, because watermelons if you stack them too high, they can break because they're that rind can actually be a little bit more tender.
Yeah. Okay.
So back in the day, the other rind for this other watermelon was quite hard and such. So they know that okay, by this time we probably have something more of our modern watermelon as it's gone on. And they talk about the flesh being kind of yellowish orangish.
Oh, really?
So, but there's actually a gene, which I thought was interesting. As we have cultivated our modern watermelon, it has the more higher sugar content you have, the redder the flesh is. So that's why we know that we have a good watermelon, a tasty watermelon that we have currently. So it kind of took a long route to get to where it is, but I think it's worth it. It's dang good. I love watermelon.
My mom loves watermelon so much. She and her friend wrote a song about it.
Really?
Yeah. They were in our youth program in the church for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would take the girls camping every summer and they would sing campfire songs.
Oh, yeah.
And my mom and her friend Sue wrote a song about watermelon.
That's awesome. They apparently love watermelon as much as Mark Twain does. So
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome. Can I tell you about one breeding of watermelon that I think is pretty funny?
Yeah.
It's called the Bradford watermelon. So during the American Revolutionary War, there was a military officer and his name was John Franklin Lawson, and he was captured by the British Army in 1783, and he was shipped off to the West Indies by boat, and the captain gave him a slice of watermelon. And he was like, oh my gosh, this watermelon is so sweet and delectable. He saved every single seed that came from that slice of watermelon.
Really?
And until he was able to get home to Georgia and plant them.
Nice.
So then there was a new watermelon that was cultivated. So that watermelon was called the Lawson. And around 1840, Nathaniel Napoleon Bradford of South Carolina, he crossbred the Lawson watermelon with the mountain sweet variety. And then that marked the beginning of the Bradford watermelon. And it was in around the 1860s. And it was one of the most sought after watermelons. It was like super sweet.
This is Mark Twain's watermelon.
Yes. And it was, so there's apparently something called a Brix rating, which indicates the sugar content of something. And the average melon falls around 10. This Bradford watermelon was a 12.5. So it was sweet and really tender. And apparently you could get killed for it.
What?
So the farmers that had the seeds and cultivated them, some growers would have to just be careful because people would come and pillage them and take them off. And so,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so some farmers would sit there and kind of keep watch with guns.
Wow.
Over their patches. Other people, I thought was not very smart, but they would select a handful of watermelons and poison them. And they would post signs to thieves saying, pick at your own risk because some of these are poisoned.
And you don't know which ones would bleed you.
The problem is sometimes it backfired on the farmers because they would inadvertently pick one of the ones that were. Yeah. And so that would be bad for them and their families.
I'll have the ones with the red dot.
I know. When electricity started to gain momentum in the late 19th century, they started doing electric wires to deter any thieves from stealing this famous Bradford watermelon. And I love this. So there was Dr. David Shields of University of South Carolina. He said, with the exception of cattle rustlers and horse thieves, more people were killed in watermelon patches than in any other part of the American agricultural landscape.
Dang.
Isn't that so funny? So they kind of died off because they were much more fragile than some of the other cultivars of watermelon because they wouldn't stack really well because they would just break because they were so tender. And so they are starting to have a comeback. You can actually find them online at bradfordwatermelons.com, and they only sell like not very many because it's just a little family operation. They're trying to drum up business again. But they make quite a few things. They make you can buy seeds so you can plant your own. They make rind pickles, watermelon rind pickles. So they pickle the rind.
Okay, I'm going to bradfordwatermelons.com after this.
And then they do make a brandy and molasses also from this particular watermelon because it's so sweet. So
that's cool.
I know, it's crazy. It's totally crazy. But I totally love that because this was a prized watermelon that people got killed over, which cracked me up a little bit. Okay, that's not very nice to think that people got killed over a watermelon, but it is kind of funny to think about it. Sharon, how do you pick out a watermelon? We're just going to hit that really quick because everybody, I think, has that question. How do you pick out a watermelon?
Let's see.
So this is how you should pick out a watermelon. So you see people tapping on a watermelon, right? Wrapping out with your knuckles. That actually can help you.
Is it supposed to sound hollow?
It's supposed to sound hollow or dull. So listen for that. So if you're choosing out a watermelon for your next picnic, knock on it and see if it sounds hollow or kind of dull sounding.
Okay.
That's good. Pick it up also. And if it seems heavier than it should be, like if you're like,
because it's juicy.
Yes, it has more water content, so it's going to be juicier. So if it seems heavier. And the other thing that is very helpful is look for a yellow patch on one part of it where it laid.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
The sun didn't get to it.
Yep. So the problem is that watermelons don't ripen much after they are picked. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So they don't continue. So if they're sitting in the store, they're not going to be like your avocados that can continually ripen after you pick them, or your bananas, whatever. So basically your most reliable sign of ripeness is to find a firm underside. So you do need to find that, look for the yellowish color, and it's firm under there. If it's white or green, there's a good chance the melon is not mature and it's not going to taste good.
Oh,
so just kind of keep that in mind. So I would say just make sure it's uniform, it's a good shape, it doesn't have weird soft spots or bruises or anything like that. And then look for specifically that little underside that is yellowish, and give it a good knock. That's legit. Give that a good knock. So
okay.
So that's all I had about watermelons. Well, actually, I did have one more thing, and I'm just going to put it out there. Square watermelons in Japan.
What?
Look it up.
What?
I'm going to put, their designer fruit in Japan, where they would grow watermelons it's basically a tempered glass box. So they're small enough, and then they start growing into it.
So it grows into that shape.
It grows into that shape, and it is highly priced. Like the Japanese
They're
all
so
about
creative with their food. The bento boxes, this designer fruit.
Oh yeah, they are crazy. So they'll breed things, because giving gifts or bringing like fruit into somebody's home if you're invited over is very respectable, but you want to bring something very extravagant, and so something like that. Plus, they would make these watermelons square so they could fit into the small Japanese refrigerators.
Oh, interesting.
So I'll put a link in that, because it's just fun designer fruit about watermelons. So our podcast is brought to you by our awesome and food loving sponsors, Zip Schedules. Hungry Squared is sponsored by Zip Schedules. It's an online employee scheduling software. When you have to schedule your employees on a day-to-day basis, that actually really can be quite time-consuming if you're a business manager. And this program, the software, makes it a breeze to do your next work schedule in minutes. So with Zip Schedules, you can automatically communicate schedules to your employees.
And Zip Schedules has an app that lets your employees check their schedules, and they can update their schedules at will with this app. They can have it on any of their portable devices, and it lets you communicate to your employees directly that way. And your employees can communicate back to you. Zip Schedules makes scheduling easy and effortless with this app. So you can get your first 30 days free by visiting zipschedules.com and use the promo code HUNGRY in all caps to receive 20% off each month for up to a year when you sign up. Thanks, Zip Schedules. Let's have a food fight.
Food fight, food fight, food fight, food fight.
This is the segment where you can email us with your relationship questions relating to food. You can email us at hungrysquared@gmail.com.
Disclaimer, we are in no way professional relationship experts, but you should totally listen to us anyway. If you need professional help, please seek it out.
Food fight, food fight. The food fight segment of the show. Here we go.
Winter, do you have this week's question?
I surely do, and I think it's a fun one. Okay. Hey, Hungry Squared ladies. I've been invited to a slew of summer barbecues and picnics, and I love going to them to be with family and friends. But I've had a couple of bad experiences in the past when I've gotten sick off a dish that someone has brought to the potluck. And these were bad experiences. This bad was all in upper cases, and it was underlined. So I think it was, Thanks for not sharing too much, but we get it. So how do I attend these summer picnics without getting sick? Signed, Food Safety Sally.
This goes right along with our theme for today's
It really
podcast.
does. That's why I chose this one.
That's something we didn't talk about today is food safety.
Yes, especially with potato salads.
Oh, yeah, right. And the fruit salad too. Or like That's really important, food safety.
It is. And it's tricky because those summer picnics, you're usually in warmer weather.
And you're usually outside.
You're outside and you're maybe traveling a little bit.
Yes, because you have to get to your destination. Sometimes it's a little bit longer distance, like, the family's getting together, right? And you're bringing a dish, but maybe your family lives like
an hour away.
Right. They live a little bit far. So
this is what I would do.
And you're usually an afternoon. It seems like an afternoon or early evening where the sun is still out and blazing hot.
It's hot. We live in Utah and it's hot, everybody.
Yeah. I think you need to plan appropriately, like with your dishes that you're going to bring and serve. Take a cooler, load it with ice, that type of thing. But there's a few tricks that you can do to prevent getting sick.
So what would I know what I would do, because I think this person, Food Safety Sally, is asking about She's going there. She wants to participate. She wants to eat some food, but she doesn't want to get sick. So how do you prevent that if that's out of your power? Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure. Sometimes, well, it depends. Like sometimes I think, especially if you're, you know, kind of close to the people and stuff, you can kind of get a feel for what everybody's bringing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are doing like online invites, like, you know, Food Safety Sally's bringing this and Winter's bringing that and Sharon's bringing this. Bring your own meat to grill or something, you know.
Yeah.
There's usually, you can get an idea of what people are bringing. I have a rule, like for those potato salads, they need to be ice cold to the touch.
Like the container that it comes in.
Mm-hmm. If it
I
is
think
not,
that's smart.
And if it doesn't feel at least like really well refrigerated, not like you can tell it was, but now it's not as cold. Like it needs to be really cold to the touch.
It's cold, not just cool.
Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise I won't eat it. Sometimes you can eat your own food or you can eat before you go.
I was going to vote for the bring your own food. So we have a few friends that are very cautious because I think they've had bad experiences at potlucks and whatever. They said, you know what? If I know I'm going to bring something that I can eat, that I can get full off of. So they're bringing something pretty substantial. And then, so that could be one thing, Sally, that you could do. You could bring something that was fairly substantial that you're like, I'm going to have a good portion of whatever I'm bringing.
Right.
So, because you know how you prepared it and how you're storing it. And then the other thing is that if you know other people in your party that will be coming that are reliable food safety people.
Yes. People that work in the industry maybe, or people that you just know that anything from their kitchen is generally safe.
Yeah. And you saw them take it out of the cooler.
Mm-hmm.
You can stick with those ones. Or the other thing is like a lot of those barbecues and stuff, they'll grill, you know, throw burgers on the barbecue or whatever. So anything that you're making there.
Yeah, it's usually easy to tell, like a grilled meat, like a burger. It's okay if it's well done. It's not awesome, but it's okay.
Yeah, and that's fine.
A hot dog. Like even processed foods sometimes are a safer bet.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, you can eat a hot dog cold. It's not awesome.
Nope, it's not awesome, but it will do in a pinch.
Yeah. You can stick to the s'mores, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's things you can stick to. Processed food sometimes is a safer bet.
The potato chips, the things that people
stuff that doesn't matter if it's refrigerated or not, like those types of things, like the
watermelon.
Chips. Watermelon.
Yeah. I think there's ways to get full off of those and participate. And then other things, I also think that it's summertime. You don't need to eat as much.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying that because most of the time it's too hot. Sometimes you're like, I'm just going to stick to the watermelon because that's what sounds good. Watermelon
stick to this lemonade.
Yeah, or this popsicle.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's ways to get around it. Just be safe. You know what doesn't look right.
Don't go ravenously hungry. I would say that.
Yeah.
Like, don't skip a meal that day of the picnic.
Yeah, because then you're going to want to eat and graze on things.
And you're going to want to eat all of the things.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it gets tricky, where maybe you might not use your better judgment and just be like, I haven't eaten today, so I'm going to eat all this stuff.
And then you kind of bring up a point where, you know, if they set out the picnic, eat during the picnic time because it's likely.
Yeah, get there early. Get there when it starts.
Because the food is fresher and hasn't been sitting out in the sun. And then don't graze after that. Mm-hmm. Like if it's been sitting out in the sun, you don't do it.
Nope.
Just don't do it. So.
Yeah. Try to pick a shady spot, that kind of thing. But get there early when it starts.
Yeah.
If you get there late, like you were waylaid for whatever reason, and so you're like an hour late, I wouldn't eat it.
Yeah. Go stick to the popsicle.
Stop by a drive-thru on your way over. You're already late.
It's fine.
Fill up. And then,
go there for games.
Yep.
It'll be fun.
Bring multiple dishes. Do whatever you need to do, but use your better judgment.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us today for our show. You can find us at hungrysquared.com, on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play Music.
Yeah, we wanted to say thanks again to Zip Schedules and True Aussie Beef and Lamb and the Big Green Egg for sponsoring our podcast. Once again, if you haven't subscribed to our podcast, subscribe and leave us a rating on iTunes. We love that. We love seeing where you're from and reaching out to our other food nerdy friends.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.
Hungry Squared, yeah, Hungry Squared.